Welcome to Unicorns, a podcast series featuring people who have distinctive characteristics and/or experiences that make them truly unique, or a unicorn. We are your hosts, my good friend Alberto Lara.
Hello, and this is my friend Phil Robinette.
And we are what I consider to be unicorns. Why is that, you ask? Because we are both electrical engineers and we both perform stand-up comedy. In my opinion, those are two traits that are so diametrically opposed that they instill disbelief in people. In the upcoming episodes, we will feature guests and their stories, demonstrating how the world is filled with more unicorns than one might think. So sit back, keep your arms and legs inside, remain seated until we come to a complete full stop, and enjoy the ride.
Unicorns is not suitable for children of any age. Unicorns is intended for mature audiences and entertainment purposes only.
This Labyrinth of Life has many paths that lead to dead ends. Many lead to infinite traps.
Okay, question.
Yes.
What's the end game?
In this Labyrinth of Life, we all want to be happy, but we cannot be happy if we don't have peace. One can't even sleep well if they don't have peace. But how do we find peace?
And this is where you're going to take us down the rabbit holes to
Yes.
see Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, allow me to take your imagination for a ride. It's going to be
Okay.
a smooth ride, soft ride,
Okay.
but maybe thought-provoking. There are certain conditions that have to be met before anybody can be happy. And one of those conditions is security, another one is safety, and another one is health. But besides the physical conditions that have to be there, we also need to have memory. Memory is crucial condition for our survival, because if we can't remember our mistakes, we cannot survive. Once that's in place, now we can start seeking over our happiness. Where's my joy? I'm trying to help people think their way out of their own misery without
nice.
using
Okay.
drugs
Okay.
or therapy, because
The power of the mind.
Yes.
Okay. I like it.
And so, right, and so I see so many people miserable of all echelons in life, and we all have grief, we all suffer. In fact, that's the beauty about life, is that we all suffer. However, depends how you suffer, because when we suffer because we're disciplining ourselves, then that brings peace. When we suffer indulging in our impulses to satisfy our cravings, that usually brings some kind of havoc behind it. Our desires enslave us, but discipline liberates us.
So the mind has the power to control or direct the type of grief, so it doesn't disable you as a person. You can function and even find joy again.
Yes, and that joy is through discipline. It may seem unpleasant and painful at first, but afterwards it brings a harvest of peace and rectitude to one's life. And so that pain is worth it. But now let's say somebody's mad at their father and they never make amends. Even when the father is trying to reach or something, the daughter loses her father, then regrets. And that suffering is more costly on one's heart than the pain of discipline. So regret and all the negative connotations that come with it, like worry, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, anything that's negative, hate, anger, greed, and of course greed is the demise of
Okay.
everyone.
Okay. How does one go about doing it? What are the concrete steps that you take to harness this power?
Hi, how are you?
The lovely Viviana has stepped up to the table. Say hi, Viviana. Please.
Hi,
Viviana, we'd like to know, where are you from originally?
El Paso, Texas.
Very nice. And where did you go to high school?
Gadsden High School.
Gadsden High School. Gadsden, Texas.
No.
Gadsden.
Gadsden, New Mexico.
Oh, so you cross state lines.
Yeah, I do.
I think there's laws against that.
Oh, really? You think so?
I think so, yes.
Oh my god. So what are you guys up to?
Are we moving on from that subject?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
We're interviewing me
Oh,
on the book that I'm writing.
Enough of,
Yeah, I'm still not done though. It's still in its pre-production. So yeah. Did you see his book, The Sirens Above, that just came out? You did see it?
Yeah. He actually did a book.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Tell us what you thought of my last book.
Goodbye.
I'll see you later. She is so cool. So that's Viviana. We're here at Wang Daddy's.
North Mesa, where your family and friends can frolic.
And I didn't think it was this much of a family environment. It's actually pretty.
As soon as they got rid of the low-cut blouses, it became more family-oriented.
Oh, wow.
It's just observational on my part. I don't have any hard evidence.
Well,
to
you're
back
very
that
keen
up.
on these human behaviors. I love how you can read people.
There's a lot of shit going on up here.
Exactly, and I want to help people sort it out.
Okay, that's a nice segue.
Yes.
What steps? Okay, somebody needs to harness the power of the mind. Is that a
Yes.
good way of putting it?
Perfect.
Okay. Into mitigating negative emotions, grief for one, greed, anger, resentment, envy,
Yeah, anything.
to name but a few. What are you gonna do? You can't just say harness it. What's the first step? What's the concrete step? What
Oh,
do you
you-
do? I can tell you what I do. Well, I want to hear what you do.
Okay. Well, it's not easy. Okay, it's not
It's
easy
not-
overriding
Agreed.
a negative thought.
Agree.
It takes a lot of willpower to overwrite our negative thoughts. It's literally like fighting a demon inside of us. We must transform ourselves by the renewing of our mind. We must not be overcome by negativity, but overcome negativity with positivity. And we can do it just by simply exercising willpower and having faith in ourselves. Okay, in fact, the only difference between a negative thought and a positive thought is faith in oneself.
Okay, let's digest that for a second, can
Yeah.
we? The only difference between a negative thought and a positive thought is faith in oneself.
Correct. Like when you know your car's leaking oil, and you start realizing, oh wait, I can fix this. Oh, okay. Well, it's just a matter of time till I get home. And even if you do have to take it to the shop, if you have the funds for it, if you can afford it, it's like no big deal. I'll just go
Yeah,
take it,
so you
pay
don't
it.
have faith in yourself to have it handled or to
You're
handle
right.
it. Okay.
So
Okay,
um,
I like that. I think that's profound. Yes.
okay. Happiness is not the absence of problems, but the ability to resolve those problems. And that was for a gentleman, H. Brown.
I like that also.
Yes.
You don't
This
have
quote.
problems. You're not leading a full life. You're not
Right.
doing anything.
A lot of people shy away from obstacles, but obstacles don't block their path. Obstacles are the path, and people need to realize that it's in adversities that we find our strength, because that's how we lift weights, by putting resistance. And so life has resistance, and depending on how one's attitude is towards this resistance, it can make them or break them.
There's a lot of romance stories where the man, wanted the woman and overcame obstacles to express his true love and win her heart. So that's an example, romantic example, right? Men overcome obstacles to get the woman of their dreams.
Yes, it's
Uh,
the
they
pursuit
tr-
of happiness.
Yeah. We're talking about the power of the mind and navigating it, the labyrinth of the mind, and using the power of the mind to deal with negative thoughts and to bring happiness, not to avoid obstacles and unhappy events, to accept them. It's part of life. So how do you deal with that? How do you keep from being suicidal? How do you keep from being depressed? Right? This is okay. What I do is, just to use a concrete step, is similar to the Corona commercials. You find your beach, you find your happy place. So when I was doing stand-up comedy a lot, I would think about my jokes and it replays try to memorize my comedy routine, and it made me happy. It uplifted me. You think about girls. You can think about work. When I was going to school and working, work was a diversion from school. School was a diversion from work. So this is what I do. These are the concrete steps I take. What say you?
Yeah, being busy is always the best policy. I think for man, the best thing for man is work. However, once the day's over and we're going to sleep, how soundly does one sleep? How peaceful is one to, and going through these ordeals in life, Some people become suicidal because they can't find a way out. And they seek therapy. They take trips to go to the beach and have a Corona, but at the end of the night, they're still there with themselves. They can't escape themselves. Some people...
How do they escape themselves?
They have to really change their mind. They really just... That simple. You don't need to go outside. You don't need to do anything. You can just state, I am not thinking that. See, a lot of us know what we're going to say before we say it. A lot of us know what we're going to think before we think it. And we can stop thinking it with practice by overriding our negative thought. And it's difficult, and it takes the strongest willpower, but it is possible. And it takes practice. And that is called a good fight. To fight the good fight within you.
But don't you have to have an alternative thought to replace it?
Yeah, how about a simple word like joy?
No.
It's as simple as that.
Just a word.
That's it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And it's not easy. I mean, it takes a lot
I'll have to try that.
It takes a lot of faith in oneself to really annihilate the 3 G's: grief, guilt, and greed.
Grief, guilt, and greed.
The 3 G's that keep people in hell in their mind.
So, okay, I'm sitting in my, let's say I'm working in the coal mines.
Yes.
Hard physical back-breaking labor.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to go home and stay busy. I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
Okay, and I got black shit all over the creases of my face.
Sure.
Okay, and I got black lung disease, or the beginnings of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to sit my lazy boy and watch the Pittsburgh Steelers, play on TV, Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
So staying busy is not practical for me in that scenario because I'm exhausted. So if I just, let's say I'm depressed and borderline suicidal, okay, I can't just put the word joy into my head and expect results.
I know, right?
Can I?
And we didn't learn to walk in one night either. And we tried, and we kept trying, and we failed.
All right.
And it takes practice, and that's where the discipline comes in.
Okay, very good. All right, I get it. I'm starting to get it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So we practice, right? And like you said, if somebody's unhealthy, of course, their joy is 90% health. A healthy servant is happier than a sick king. So once we have our 5 physiological needs met, like a baby, what do we do when a baby's upset? Well, we check to see if it's hungry. Is it hungry? No. Okay. Then is it? Does it
Hungry,
have
thirsty,
sleepy?
dirty diaper?
Is it sleepy? Dirty diapers?
Scared.
Pain? And then on top of it all, is it hot or cold? Because none of us like to be hot or cold, right? So once those 5 physiological needs are met, pretty much everything else is perspective. Okay, but we have to be healthy to have joy. Otherwise, it's very difficult. It takes a lot more faith to be happy when one is in pain. So,
well, some people are in pain not by choice.
Exactly.
My daughter would be.
Yes, and health problems are real problems.
But she is able to find joy.
I admire her strength so much.
She did contemplate suicide.
The thought of suicide is very normal.
Is it? Elaborate that, because I contemplated suicide when I was a reprobate after high school, and I was doing stupid, wild, self-destructive things. Why is the thoughts of suicide normal?
Because it's our own nature to dwell towards the negative. By nature, we are selfish. By nature, we are pessimists. By nature, we are sadists. We enjoy seeing other people get hurt. It's like, why is football such a brutal sport?
Right, gladiator.
MMAs.
Gladiators in the Roman days.
We're very...
slave fights,
Right. Jordan Peterson said that it's amazing that so many of us people in society get along. By nature, we should have been tearing each other's faces by now. But, something in us is good. And so where is that good? And can we develop it and proliferate that good in all of us? And the answer is yes. But it's a choice. And it's not easy. Just like walking wasn't easy for kids, just like juggling.
It's a process.
It's a process of proficiency. In the corporate America,
you have to be diligent and tenacious.
Yes, and corporate America refers to this as the stages of leadership, but they're really the stages of proficiency. And so we all start being unconsciously incompetent. And then we try a little harder, and then we see that we become consciously incompetent, and we realize, oh my goodness, this is where I have to work at it. Okay, so I put on 300 pounds on the bench press, but I realize I can't do it. So let's see, where am I then? So now I know that I'm not competent. So I keep practicing, and then I become consciously competent until I become unconsciously competent, which I reach subject matter expert status.
Okay, so you're saying this practice, you're using the weight room example, if you apply this to your mental powers, practice, you get stronger, you're adding weight, you're getting stronger, and you're getting more endurance at it. And if you are diligent and stay with it, you will get results, just like in the weight room.
Yes,
agree with that. Thoughts are a habit, a practice, a routine. Yes, they don't just come and go and have results.
And the thing about exercise, it's a common misconception. Exercise doesn't end when one gets tired. That's when it begins. And that's the thing.
Because you're building endurance.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going to circle back. Can I?
Yes.
It's difficult to have joy if you're not healthy, but not impossible.
Correct.
Okay, so that's just an obstacle that has to be overcome. So the main focus here, the main objective is you are exercising the faith muscle in your brain. And you are thinking about joy as often as possible. Force the negative, suicidal, depression thoughts out of your life.
Yes. Faith eliminates all those negative connotations that I like call demon, like worry, anxiety, doubt. Doubt creates fear. Now, if we dwell on our doubts alone, we'll spiral ourselves to failure.
Okay, I had an epiphany right now.
Okay, good. Share.
You know what you're describing?
What is that?
Religion.
Well, religion is not being polluted by the world. That's religion.
No.
But in essence, a way of thinking.
Okay, from where I'm sitting, you talk about practice, the faith muscle in your mind, and the diligent, and day in and day out. That's what religious people do. You could just use that same verbiage I just did and describe religion.
A religion,
in my opinion.
In religion and oneself, maybe.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about like Catholic, Presbyterian,
Okay.
Lutheran, Methodist. That religion.
Oh, okay.
They're practicing the faith. They're exercising the faith muscle in their mind. They're using it to fight depression and suicidal thoughts. They're looking for happiness. They're imagining joy when they're in the church and when they're thinking about God. We're describing religion.
Right. Well, when I listen to religion, they usually have me looking outward into the sky to seek help from somebody that's not me. And that's the difference between religion and my point of view.
There's differences, but the common core, in my opinion, is belief. You have to believe in a supreme being. You have to believe in something.
How about in oneself?
Okay, it's a substitution. I'm not saying it's directly analogous.
Sure.
I'm just saying you can use the same verbiage to describe what you're talking about and to describe religion.
Sure.
I'm not saying,
but
I'm not saying those two things are interchangeable.
But mine is tangible. You can actually reach your own mind.
Okay, I like that distinction. Elaborate on that, please.
Well,
how is it tangible?
Well, first of all, the brain. When you say the faith in our brain is a physical aspect, and what I'm talking about is the intangible aspect, the mind. The mind, the imagination, the conscience, where we know what's right or wrong. That's the intangible.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yes.
Isn't that what religion is? They're imagining the intangible and the.
Yeah, but it's up in the sky.
And where's yours?
Mine's in my mind.
Okay, all right, I accept that.
It's my will.
Okay, that's an important distinction.
It's my I am.
I like that. Okay.
The will is the I am, and the I am is the will.
A lot of people listening to this would say he's describing religion, and we need to break it down. And
no.
And you broke it down, and you explained the difference. Okay.
Yeah, no. This is psychological.
Okay, keep going.
This is a psychological aspect.
Okay.
It is not religious, because we live in more than just the physical. We live in the emotional state and also
there's no supreme being. There's no outside
psychological
influences.
state. No, I'm not talking about any of that.
Yeah, it's just you and your mind.
And that's to each his own. You can believe whatever you want.
Yeah, it's just you and your mind.
But it's my mind, me, myself, and I.
All right.
Okay, the three levels of identities. Me
like
in the
it.
physical form,
I like it.
The self, the mind, and then the I, my will, the I am. Because on our mind, we can think of something good or bad, and we will do whatever we want to do. That's what the will is all about. What do we want? Why do you do what you do? Because I want to, period. Whether it's right or wrong. We all exercise our will. And when you exercise the power of the will with belief that you can, that's where really one starts propelling themselves to a level of success that if one is not careful, they can really ruin their own lives. And the thing is that no one teaches others to explain to them the secrets to life. And that's why you see so many people looking, chasing the gold at the end of the rainbow and only finding cornflakes.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you. to do
Sure.
something.
Sure.
I want you to describe everything we just talked about in 50 words or less.
You don't have to know how life works to work life. Just like we don't know how a TV works, we can work the TV. You just have to know how to press the controls. And so the guide towards this control comes through discipline. And the more one disciplines themselves, the more they've come into tune to find their inner power, their capabilities.
Okay, question.
Yes.
Okay, let's say somebody wants to do this, but
Sure.
they don't have the mental discipline. They've tried and tried and tried, they just don't have it.
Yes.
Is there
Tools?
well, yeah, is it yoga, meditation,
And yes,
reading? Is what I mean, it'll be different things for different people, but what are some of the examples one can to get over that hump?
there are only good questions and excellent questions. And the excellent questions are the ones that I know the answers to. And
Is that an excellent question?
That was an excellent question.
Okay,
yes.
good.
So the thing about life is that knowledge
I'm
is
doing a
power.
good job, huh?
You're doing an excellent job. It couldn't be scripted better.
Okay, good.
Attain knowledge of all sorts, of all disciplines, from say physics, metaphysics, quantum physics, philosophy. Have an open mind. Listen to everything, every perspective, because as a man of science, we have to consider that the impossible is possible.
Okay, can a guy try yoga? Is there some reason to believe that might work?
Sure,
for
but
some people?
sure, but one has to know how to do yoga correctly before they can gain the benefits of yoga.
Well, I would. Okay.
So the knowledge of attaining the yoga, one should read into it or research, ask, because the positions in yoga activate certain energy channels that uplifts a person's self-esteem.
Okay, so that's a positive, concrete step somebody can do.
Yeah, but it's also about knowing how to do it. See, people tell you.
Yeah, that's understood.
People do, hey, go lay down a concrete slab. All right, cool, but hey, how do you do it?
No.
Oh, you should lose weight. Oh, cool. How
That's
do
an
you do
important
it?
distinction. I thought that would be understood, but you're right. You have to.
It's
an
a
important
it's a
distinction.
tacit statement for sure, but the how is definitely crucial. So when we attain this knowledge of how to do something, we have to attain it the right way, because those who have the right knowledge will be given more and they will live in abundance. With the right knowledge, we gain our profit, our time is valued, we get our investment back, and a lot more. Those who do not have the right knowledge will lose everything, even what they think they have. They'll lose their investment, their time, their motivation, everything. So it's about attaining the correct knowledge. Because knowledge is power. Knowledge is like a hammer. But wisdom is knowing how to use that hammer. So one has to have the right knowledge.
Okay, what if you're doing it wrong? How will you know you're doing it wrong?
Well, first, that you won't have any harvest. For example, if you
No
let's try
results.
gardening, no plants will grow. Let's
Okay, so
take
no
losing
results.
weight. Right, no
But,
results.
okay, but it's a process. So you're not going to get
True.
results at first anyway. So you just use your instincts when you know you're doing it. After a while, you say, well, I must be doing it wrong.
Sure, because if I keep, the worst thing I can do to change is keep doing the same thing.
Okay.
So I need to change it up. And if I know that a workout's not working out, then to attain my goals, then I need to change it. So like losing weight, a lot of people go to the trainers and exercise clubs, and the trainers most of the time put them on the treadmill. And exercise alone is not optimal to losing weight. Diet is a way to do it. But if these trainers would teach their clients how to eat correctly, their clients wouldn't need a trainer. And so, in fact, they would stop paying the $60 a month, and they would invest that in their diet, cleaning it up, eating the right foods, but for that, they need to do a little research and realize, how does food work in our body? But if one doesn't read about it, attain the knowledge, why they would never know this.
Okay, I'm going to assume that you would advise against using alcohol and recreational drugs to achieve these results.
No. On the contrary.
Yeah, you don't want to. You would advise against it.
No. I condone.
Oh, you
I
condone it?
condone the use of psychedelics.
But okay, alcohol.
No, alcohol. Everything is good in a measurable amount. It's about moderation.
If you
But
if you use alcohol and recreational drugs in moderation, they can help you achieve results.
They can point you in the right direction. They can show you things that you normally wouldn't know, because our imagination becomes enhanced when we are in a different mind state, when we're drunk, when we're sleepy, when we're in any type of mind state. So if we know how to reflect during those altered states of mind, we can actually see our life in a outside perspective and be able to control it in a fourth dimensional way.
So you have a book coming out.
Yes, I'm finishing it up, and
the title
anxious.
is?
Not anxious. The use of words. I'm eager. Anxious shows fear. Eager. I'm eager to drive to publish it.
I love a person who chooses the words carefully. So you're eager to have your book coming out.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a target date, or at least a range? Are we talking 2022? Sometime this year?
Yes.
Okay. Later of the fall, perhaps?
Later in the fall.
Okay. And the title is?
The Labyrinth of Life.
Okay. And are you going to self-publish this?
Yes. I'm going to utilize the similar tools that you used to publish your books.
Okay.
Through the Kindle Publishing Company.
KDP Direct, I think it's called. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. And give us a hypothetical table of contents, just as a teaser.
Sure. I start to describe the first
Chapter
section,
1 is called what?
The Misnomer Universe.
The Misnomer
Universe. The word universe is completely falsified. It's thrown around like trash in society. Even by our scientific community, they direct us to look outward to find the secrets to the universe, where the word universe is comprised of uni, which means one, and verse, which is a realm, which is a spoken word, or it is a point of view, a verse. And so universe is one unit of consciousness. And I explain further into how they've misled us to look in the wrong way.
We don't want to give too much away.
Right. And so that's what I explain in the first chapter. The second chapter,
Chapter 2, what is it going to be
I dive
called?
into quantum physics a little bit.
What's the chapter called?
The chapter's called, What is a God Particle?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
What is the God particle?
What is the God particle?
Is
I
it?
like the way you phrase those. It gives you thought. Okay.
And that's exactly what I thought when I read about the God particle. And it's a phenomenon that quantum physics discovered, and it's phenomenal.
Pun intended.
Very much so. I fell in love with it, and so I continued submerging myself in it.
Just real quickly, is this a particle within the atom, or is this an abstract particle?
So this God particle that quantum physics describes, it's actually a field. It's a field of energy that pervades the whole cosmos. And so it interacts with all these subatomic particles that are massless, like the leptons, the quarks, and so we're digging way deep into the subatomic.
Okay, chapter 3. What is chapter 3 called?
Chapter 3, off the top of my head, I'm going to quantum physics. Quantum physics starts going into how the natural phenomena that occurs in quantum physics also occurs in our brain, because that field also interacts with the inner workings of our mind, of our brain.
You got a title?
Our brain. What is the imagination, or where is the imagination? Something about the imagination. No, I don't have that.
Okay.
I don't have that on this. So the thing is, the imagination is a portal to this field that quantum physics is talking about. Anyway, that's the
Okay,
whole
all right.
metaphysical aspect of it.
So the quantum physics you're talking about is one could describe it in general as the imagination.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
okay.
our brain
Is that part
has
of the
quantum
God particle?
phenomenon.
Is the God particle involved
Sure,
in that? Okay.
because the God particle that the quantum physics labeled as Higgs field, named after Peter Higgs, which is a 1960s physicist, worked with the greatest minds, but they named it after him, the Higgs field. But enthusiasts that didn't understand the whole concept of quantum physics approach started calling it the God particle, because there is something behind the curtain of the nothing that we cannot see, and it gives the existence to our world as we know it.
Okay, so it sounds like to me the sequencing of your chapters is leading one up to the concept of imagination.
Yes,
You-
and the
you-
control of it.
Yeah, so the first three chapters or so, it leads up, are the building blocks, if you will. It leads us up to imagination. Okay, so Al, let's sum it up. What are the practical things one can do that would exemplify what you're suggesting?
Okay, and this is easier said than done. But when one is starting to feel anger building up in them, it starts right in the solar plexus, and that's what we have to dissipate it immediately. Otherwise, it's like opening the gates, and once it seeps in us, it will seed itself in our mind, root itself into our physiology, and then we will wreak havoc over our own surroundings. And if that's not a possession, I don't know what is. And we can all experience anger because we've all
been possessed.
We've all been possessed by anger, and that's why people downplay it. But if one really fights their anger, that's real power.
So
they say that it's harder to control our own thoughts than to control a whole city.
Okay, so nip it in the bud.
Be kind. Don't get angry. Just offset your anger. Forgive.
When the anger starts in your solar
Just let it
plexus,
go. Yes.
nip it in the bud.
Nip it right.
Okay, now people will say, well, that's why they tell you to count to 10 and take a deep breath. Is that the same thing?
Sure, it's the same.
Okay.
But this is the thing. Once you decide to
type
do
the
it,
email, but don't hit send. I mean, it's the same thing, right?
right?
Yeah.
You still have to make that choice.
Yeah. But you have to make that choice.
It's like the halftime
you have to be
coach.
strong and practice. Exercise willpower. And exercise that muscle in your brain that allows you to make that choice. Correct?
Perfectly said.
I'm just paraphrasing
100%.
what you said. So
Yes. Well, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And so this power, once one knows their own power, they can really know, and that's where I start telling my story. Once I tie all the physics, the metaphysics, Newtonian, and quantum, then I start talking about how I controlled my story in life and willed astronomical probabilities. And that's where I like to lead people, that they can do the same thing with their life.
But don't get discouraged if you don't get immediate results. Stick with the program. It's like everything else in life. You have to crawl before you can walk. You're going to fall down when you first start walking. You don't stop walking. But if you want to improve, if you want to get rid of those negative, in some cases suicidal thoughts, you have the power to do it.
Very
and it
much.
can be done in your lazy boy chair after work. It could be done laying in bed. It could be done sitting in your office chair, in the car.
Yeah, anywhere.
Listening to classical music.
And that's the beauty of things. When people learn to think correctly, they won't need so many external stimulants. That one can reach peace in any and every situation. We all go through strife, and we all go through the stages of grief. Encourage yourself to reach the last stages of grief, which is acceptance and forgiveness. Acceptance and forgiveness are both the end of the stages of grief and the start of a new beginning. So fight the good fight within you, think positive, and have a happy thought day.
Your near-death experiences.
Yes.
And give us that segue right now.
Right.
Into your, by my count, 5 3/4 near-death experiences.
Definitely.
which are coming up next. How are we segue into that for me?
Okay. When we know where we are going, we know the end. A lot of people are afraid of death because they don't know where they're going. The thing is, with life, when we know the beginning, we know its end because the end is in the beginning.
Unicorns is brought to you by Opulent Works, created by Phil Robinette, executive producer Alberto Lara.